Dan Galusha, and welcome to another edition of Shootin' Plink. Well, we're not going to be doing any shooting today. In fact, we're going to be talking about holsters and also belts, because there's a ton of them out there, especially for the conceal carry. And that's what we're basically going to be talking about, because you got shoulder holsters, pocket holsters, ankle holsters, you name it. You got a holster just about everywhere you can think of. And the big one is the conceal carry. The ones that are pretty much made like these right here for the pistols that we're going to be talking about. But belts are very, very important too. Back in the days of the Old West, it pretty much had something like this. Just a regular old belt. They went into the store, they looked around, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see if my shooting iron fits it. Well, yeah, it fits it real good. In fact, this is a Ruger Wrangler, by the way. Fits it real good, put it there. They strap the belt on, see how quickly they can draw it, and that was it. That's all they did really with it. Yeah, they had to have a good quality belt, although if you just put it on a regular old belt, we're going to go into that a little bit more here in a bit too. So we'll set that one aside, because we're not going to worry with that. Yeah, you still do look for those type, and that particular one, those are good ones. Let's talk about the guns though, the regular pistols on the holsters. Like I said, there's a lot of models out there, and there's one that is universal. There's not just one, there's several that are universal. I don't like them. I have had several of them, and they have all went back. There's the ones with, well, like this. There would be a button on the side. I don't even have one of them. I got rid of all of them. That thing was a royal pain. And there's one that just wouldn't, I could barely get the gun in, and once I got the gun in, I couldn't get it out. It wouldn't unlock, it wouldn't do anything. Had another one that the button broke, fell out completely. Everything fell out, and I'm sitting there trying to get it back in. So definitely, those went back. So now let's talk about this type. This is what they call an inside the waist. You notice the clip like this? And the ones that I will definitely recommend are the ones that they're molded. They're molded right for the gun. In other words, in my case, right here, we've got the Security 380 and the Security 9, and down here I've got the Max 9, which I'm going to be showing you in a bit, because that one's set up all different, but it's still, and by the way, all of these are We the People holsters. The reason being is I've got some other brands I've used too, but basically it's We the People unless they do not have one molded for that. And then I always recommend to them, because they do have a place to recommend a holster that they don't make, and that's what I did with this Security 380, and then they started making that, so I got a couple of them. I always get the outside the waist and the inside. Again, this is the inside. It has this clip like that. Talk about the clips in just a second. This particular one is the outside, and you'll see it's completely different sort of clip. We're going to talk about this one first. This goes on the inside of your waist, and I'll back this off so you can see that. Like I said, this goes on the inside of your waist, and you can get them for right or left-handed, just in case you're a left-handed shooter. And one reason I've got this over here is I'm a cross drawer as far as when it's on the outside of the waist. But the inside the waist, this right here has to go in just like this inside your waist. Now you pull out on this, and this one is a tough one, and two, I don't have a regular gun belt, which I'm going to be explaining. Now, did you hear that pop? That is now in place, and it's ready to have this gun, because it is a 380. We will pop this one out, and you want the gun to hold tight, just like that. Now that's down in, that's your inside the waist, or an IWB, and you can see it's not coming loose, but I am able to draw the gun, and the holster stayed put, and that's what you want. Sometimes they're slopping around. One reason is belt, that we're going to go into in a bit. Now to remove it, you take and you pull outward on that, get it up onto the belt so that it's loose, and then pull it out. There it is. So again, that was the inside the waist. Now I've already got an outside the waist one, but I'm going to show you with this one, because this is set straight. This is not canted. That's another thing you want. See how they got all these screw adjustments? You want that so that you can adjust the holster up, down, or to an angle like I have down here where I can draw it cross draw. Now, you notice the paddles are different. They don't have that hard clip. This one comes down in, and you'll notice right here, there's a little bit of gap. The belt goes right in there and holds on that. These down here that you see, these little hooks, that's going to be holding onto the pants, because what you're going to do is you're going to take this paddle, you're going to stick it into your waistband just like that, and there it is. And you notice, I drawed the gun, and it stayed right there, and that's what you want. You want that holster to stay put when you draw it. So, and you also want these adjustable so that you can tighten them up or loosen them if you have to. And I'll show you what I mean. I'll get this out and take it off. Now how you do this is you got to stick your thumb in here into the material, and you got to get it over the top of that notch right there, and then she'll just swing it up and she'll come out. Now, like I said, the adjustment right here, there's a little adjustment on these. This screw, you just tighten or loosen that so that it will tighten this into here. You'll notice there's an indentation right in here. That's what holds that gun. That's what's important about having one that's molded to the gun, because it's going to fit just right. Now with one that is a universal, like I said, who knows? It could be anywhere. It could be slopping around inside. Well, I'll show you here. It could be slopping around inside the trigger guard. It could be up here. So your pistol's like this way. It may not even fit it. It may be out here somewhere. But with it molded exactly for that gun, it's here. I'll tell you another reason you want it molded for the gun. And if I can show you on one of these, here, this is a good one to show you right here. You'll notice here, see this little area right down in here, how it comes outward, and you can see the magazine release button. That's made so that it will fit in there, it will protect that magazine release button, but it won't disengage it. Okay, I had a holster that I was using for a, I think it was a GX4, a Taurus anyway, and I didn't realize it. I'd put it in there, and you'd go to draw to shoot, and it just wouldn't hit right, and you notice, oh, my magazine's loose, and you go like that. Well, then there was a couple of times I put it in, I walked, and my magazine fell out. That was pressing down on that magazine release button, and you'll notice this really fits tight on this one, but it was pressing down that button and releasing my magazine without me knowing. So you definitely want to check that out. That is extremely important. Now I'll show you something else you want to look for. Say these days, you know, you've got a lot of optics that are on your guns, such as this Ruger Max 9. And I'll get this one off. Here we go. And you notice I've got this, and I'll show you now on the canning. See where I got it adjusted in the back? That's so that it will fit down like this on my belt, just like that, yet the pistol is canted. This is a right-handed one, which I put to my left, canted so I can draw it this way. Now, you'll notice on this, this is what's called a ready dot. This is an optics. This is a Ruger ready dot. No batteries. You don't need any batteries, but we're not going into that because I've already done that when we were talking about it. And also, here's another one that we've got. There's two versions of this. There's one with and without a manual safety. This particular one happens to be a manual safety. You can see it right back here. It's right there. All right. What happens if you got a holster that's solid across there and it doesn't have anything for that? Well, this one's molded, and right here you can see the indentation right there. All right, when I put this in here, right there, it fits, and that is made for the manual safety. Again, why you want a holster that is made for the gun, and it will lock it in much better. And that's always important, because you can be jostling around out in the woods or whatever, and all of a sudden, well, what happened to my gun? Well, it fell out. That's what happened to it, or it was pulled out. So you don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight. You want it so that you can draw it. Like I said, you just take that, even on the crossfire, take it, slip it down in, just like that. Make sure your belt's into the right spot, and you can draw without having to worry about it falling off. Pocket holsters are a little different, and we're not even getting into that because that's usually for a very small gun. I'm talking about these guns that are considered compact, not the real super compact like a holster in the pocket, but these are compact, and this Ruger Security 9 is a full-size one. Now, I was going to talk to you about belts, and this is critical to everything I've been talking about, where they're coming out, where you're drawing. If a belt doesn't fit properly, you can have yourself some problems. That holster can come off of there, and I'll show you. Leather belts can get by a little bit. You want them the proper thickness, the proper width, and in the case of a web belt, you also want it so that it's and if you're using a ratchet type, like I'll show you here, and that's what I've got on here, but I've got one of these cheaper ones that really isn't the best for these holsters, and I'll show you here. This is one like I have on. You can get these a lot cheaper, like on any of the shopping things like Amazon or something like that, and they say they're military type. Well, look at this. This is something you don't want in it. See that flexing? You don't want it so it flexes. See the ribs? They're not real deep. It's thinner than you think, because when I show you the other one, I'll put them up side by side, and it's also slightly narrower. That, just slightly different, can make a difference on your belt. Now, this is an actual gun belt, military standards, and you will see I cannot squeeze that thing no matter what I do. It's staying stiff, and yet it's flexible enough to be comfortable. You'll see here, this is slightly narrower. Just slight, but that's enough. Thickness, take a look at the thickness. This one over here is just slightly thinner. It's just not the best in the world for to be perfect, and that's it. If you have a good holster that's matching and everything else, don't cheapen up on the belt. Yes, this is going to be more expensive. In fact, this is one you can tell. I just got it. Look at the size of it. That thing would wrap around me about 2-3 times. These are for trimming, and it's got what they call a ratchet. Now the buckles, I better talk about that right now. If you got something like a ratchet belt like this is a very cheapy one. It works, locks it down, but because these ribs are so shallow, if you stoop over, somehow expand your stomach or whatever, you will feel, or maybe even hear, that ratchet let go. That's right here. This, the ratchet, or the ribs are much deeper on it, and this buckle is made substantially better than this one. This is a We the People again. But there are companies, a lot of companies out there. It just so happens that I stumbled into We the People, and no, they're not sponsoring me or anything like that. It's just I'm trying to relate to you what you can get for the best. And this stuff so far, We the People, has definitely been the best. Well, like I said, there's one that's called Warrior, holster-wise. But the problem with the Warrior is, it works. It's custom made right to the gun, which is great, but the back of it, when you're talking about back here, these clips, especially their ones that are the outside of the waist, they're just not right. I had a spare We the People one, I put it on the Warrior one, so that works. There's another one that I can't even remember. It started with a B, and that was a good little good little holster, and I used that for my Ruger LCP 22. That is what they call light rack, and it worked very, very nice with that. But now the leather ones, if you're going to go to leather, again, most of your leather belts, if you got a good wide leather belt, they're thick enough to handle it. So you don't need to go overboard with it. But if you want one that, because the nice thing about these, yes, they're more expensive. This is more expensive. And there's about 3 or 4 different versions of these with the ribs. And the leather, they're all warranted. And you might pay a little bit more, but they're warranted, a lot of them for life. So if you got a defect in the material or whatever, just get a hold of the company and then they'll take care of you. Hopefully, if you get the right company. Hey, it just hit perfectly. My mail person came along and she honked her horn, and this is what I got. One of them. They had these 2 for 1. So I got a couple. I got a brown one and a black one. This is a leather gun belt, a very good one. And naturally, we the people. As you'll see, they got their logo right up here. Very, very good stiff loop. This is stiff. It has the websuit type stuff like a diver would have on the inside. There's 3 layers here. The inside has got the same sort of a ribbed webbing, but it's all leather here, so it's a very good sturdy. There's no way to bend that thing. This is going to be a very good gun belt. I have not had one of these before, and I don't know how it's going to fit due to the fact that I don't know if I ordered the right size. But here's the thing. If I order the wrong size, no problem. I just get a hold of We the People, and they will take care of it for me. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to fit. There's enough holes. You put it on. Yeah, I'm not going to put it on because I want to show you what it'll do with the holster. Nice belt, really. Okay, let's grab a holster here. Okay, here's a inside the waist. So by it being inside the waist, it would go this way on the belt. And you'd have to snap it over, just like I said before. The only problem is I don't have it on trying to snap it over, so we can have a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slip it in to show you with the material in there and this. Look how this fits. I mean, it really, really fits good. It's not going to slip because once you have the material of your pants, remember this is inside your waist, you're going to have this, your pants are going to be between here and the belt, and that's how it's going to fit. That's just going to be super. Let's try one of them that is outside the waist. Here's one right here. Okay, now this one will be outside the waist, and you'll see it here. We're going to slip it in. Again, it's going to really fit. I'll show you this way. Here's the little ledge I talked to you about before, right down here. See how that's going to be, and then you got your material, and see how it's going to set on here even? Fits perfect. I mean, that's going to be, again, having a hard time getting it in the camera view that you want. But you can see it right there. That hook's there too. That's going to work perfect. And again, you're going to have the material from your pants on here. I'm glad those came along because now I can show you what a very, very good leather gun belt will look like for concealed carry. Now that's the belts and the holsters, like I said. And hopefully this has helped some, and you, especially for you that have never looked into these. Because as I said, there are tons of these things on the market. And the shoulder holsters and the others I've talked about, the leg holsters, the ankle holsters, all that stuff, again, look for good quality stuff. But that is another, in fact, that's about 3 different videos separate from this to go into that. But I wanted to combine the belts with the holsters because of the fact that they go hand in hand. And if you get a good holster, as I said, don't cheapen up on the belt, because the worst thing you can do is if you're in a situation where you're having to save your life or another person's, is to just have the thing all screw up just because that belt did not hold that holster properly. So until next time, shoot safe and have a great day of plinking.